Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
This is Coach's Corner.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner from the campus of Gulf Coast State College. Coach's Corner is sponsored by Sweet Bay. I'm your host, Greg Sherrod, and we're talking again this week with the head coach of the Gulf Coast Lady Commodore softball team, Scott Thomas. The Lady Commodores coming off a terrific weekend in the Visit Dothan Invitational, Scott.
Yeah, we played well overall. We had one little speed bump in the way there, which was a good team though in Central Florida, but we were able to take down a couple of nice teams that are nationally ranked. And overall, I liked what I saw, and I think we're getting better, and hopefully we can use this as a springboard moving forward.
7-3 the Lady Commodores are overall in the season, but it was a 4-1 weekend at the Visit Dothan Invitational. And you mentioned Salt Lake, which is ranked 5th nationally. Southern Idaho ranked 19th nationally, wins there. But the big deal to come out of this is Coach Thomas recording his 800th career victory. 800 wins.
Been at it a long time. I started when I was really young. No, it's been great. A lot of those obviously were at Virginia Tech, and only right now I'm at 7 here. So we'll go for another. I think I'm good for another 400 or 500. We'll see how we go here at Gulf Coast. But no, a lot of players, a lot of staff involved, and I'm really enjoying this team. I told them it was just really special to be able to share something like this with them, and my staff. Tonight does such a great job for me, and Bob Thayer, and just been a really good weekend. The players were excited and very appreciative. So it was fun. We had a good time.
And you mentioned a lot of the players over the years. I mean, when you win 800 games in a career, that's not all on you. A lot is, of course, for your talent and what you are as a mentor and a coach. But it's everybody involved from back, in the early days to now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were very fortunate. When I first started, we could play 56 dates, and you could play like 1 year we were like 54 and 16. Yeah. So you're playing a lot more games, and now it's just 56 games. When I say just, but it's still a lot of games. Right. And we used to play 3 games a day at times. We don't do that anymore. We can, but we don't. Yeah. But no, it's just so many players, and it takes so many people to make it work. With us trainers and sports information people and whoever else have been working at the game over the years. But yeah, I'm just proud of everybody that I've been associated with. I had a assistant coach who was with me for 17 years, Al Bronze at Virginia Tech, and so he saw a lot of them too. So anyway, we're getting it started here. We got a lot more to go.
Yeah, very modest but very deserving, and congratulations again for that milestone of 800 wins. So you've got the weekend, this past weekend, from Dothan down in 4 out of 5 ball games. Before we get to what's coming up, and which means you hit the road again, some of the individual play. I mean, you got a gal here hitting 528 after 10 games, and the batting averages here are terrific, but in particular one, and that is Cocoa Beach native Summer Johnson. Yeah,
Summer is just really doing a great job, and she's a player who, I'll be honest with you, she came in a couple weeks ago. Said, Coach, I'm not sure. Do you think academically I need to stay here another year? And she's just a freshman, and I said, absolutely not. She's a 4.0. She's going to be able to graduate early. She's an engineering type of person. And I'm like, let's find you a place to play. So she's showing what she can do right off the bat. So she's leading the state or the region in a lot of categories. She's leading her second place in just about every hitting stat there is. And so I'm proud of her. She's doing a great job leading us in home runs, extra base hits, leading the state in extra base hits. She's got 5 doubles to go with the 4 home runs and 2 triples, so she can run too. So, no, it's just she's doing great. But we've got a lot of people coming back. Taylor Robinson's doing a great job as a senior leader. So is Belle Wolfenden. As I kind of look down with the players that are coming back and really being a big piece of it, those are 2 of the biggest ones. And then I'll tell you what, Hannah Seegers behind the plate has done a great job, and she came up with a big home run against Salt Lake. And then the one probably the biggest surprises maybe is probably Caroline Woolley, who's hitting 455, and she's a kid that's earned her right to be the designated player, the DH, our piece of the DH rule. And doing a great job, and she's got a couple doubles there too. I think she's got 3. But I'm real proud of this bunch. Ellie Freed is a kid who's leading off out of Vegas that we brought in. She's doing a great job, really stepping up. Anna Greek sets the table for the top at the bottom. So I'm just really pleased with all these guys, and so it's good. And we got some good pitching efforts as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the pitching because obviously when you beat the quality teams you did, 2 nationally ranked teams, they had to step up.
Well, it's interesting because Cam Mihalis pitched the first game against Meridian, and what that did was that was her first start of the year. So she pitched a complete 6-inning game. We won by run rule in that game, but that gave our pitching staff, or the other 2 that we're really counting on to throw, it gave them an opportunity to get a little bit of rest. They didn't have to pitch as many innings because she took that game up. And Cam's normally our starting third baseman. She's also driving some runs in for us as a hitter, but that was huge. And then to come back that night against Southern Idaho, and Taylor Lee gave a great effort. We had a rough one against Central Florida, and the interesting part about that is we came back against Salt Lake. Salt Lake, and then when we came back against Salt Lake, Taylor Lee was still fresh, being able to throw. She didn't throw that morning, threw another great game. Well, one of the things that happened in that game is that Brittany was also fresh because we only threw her 4. She came in and closed the game, and kind of did her Mariana Rivera bit, and there was a fireman in that game, got a big save for us in that win. So it was truly a team effort in that game. And then Pearl River, she was able to start, and again, we used both pitchers in that game. So I'll tell you, Cam's deal was huge, though. Her ability to take those first 6 innings and save her pitching staff was awesome.
That's huge. Yeah, it is. And this has got to be a real a boost early on in the season after only 10 ball games. So, you talked about the hitting earlier, but I mean, how important is pitching and defense?
Well, it all starts in a circle, we always say, but the ability to score runs, the way our game has evolved in softball, you got to be able to score runs. And so I'm pleased on both ends. We're playing a pretty balanced game right now. We're scoring the runs when we need to, and I thought we showed some fight yesterday. We had a good 9 innings. We had the game in hand, quote unquote. We're up 6-1. We let Pearl get back in on it. And then we just kind of kept battling, found a way to step it up and hit the ball when we needed to win the ball game.
You've been to Clearwater, and then now Dothan, and how the crowd's been there?
Well, these early tournaments, a lot of what you're going to see is parents, primarily. Right. But these are pretty nice ballparks, so a lot of people are coming out to these. Once we get into the Panhandle Conference, you're going to see more of the local flavor of fans and stuff. But right now we got a lot of parents that enjoy coming out and watching us play, and that's nice to have family around. Yeah,
I was thinking about when the Lady Commodores do come home for games at Joe Tom King Field, but it was not only the facilities that you've played on the road so far, but again, playing in front of a crowd, which are a lot of fans. It hasn't happened yet, but it's still been a good experience on the road.
It is. It's a different environment, because you're playing at a park where there's usually kind of open dugouts and that type of thing, where we don't have those. At ours, it's more of a closed type of regular ballpark. But it's great competition. It sets us up for the weekend, and we got another one this weekend down over in Gulf Shores.
That's right. It's the Sun Chief Classic the Lady Commodores will be playing in. They've got 4 games. You play Walter State. This is a Friday morning game at 9 a.m., followed by another game wow, just right after that against John Logan, and then a couple of games on Saturday against Shelton State and Snead State.
Right. Yeah, I think Walter State's going to be good. Looks like Logan's going to be a good team as well. I know Walter. We watch Walter State, and they're out of Tennessee, and Logan, I'm pretty sure, is out of Illinois. I was trying to figure that out actually before I came over here and trying to get some information on those guys, but they're just starting their season today actually. And then the other two teams were actually up there with us and Dothan, and so it's going to be a good weekend for us continuing. It's nice to have only be 2-3 hours away,
right?
And like Dothan's only an hour and a half. That's a nice deal,
right?
Sure. So it's a really good deal.
All right, just to change gears for here just a little bit, keep you fresh, keep you on your toes.
All right.
Let's have a quick edition of Rapid Fire. Ladies and gentlemen, Rapid Fire for Scott Thomas, and I'm just going to toss them at you. First thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
Favorite gangster movie?
Untouchables.
Whoa. Music-wise, old country or new country?
Old country.
Thank you
very
very
much.
much. Thank you.
Not
very
even close.
Much. All right. You're a Virginia Tech grad, Virginia Tech, coached there for years. Nicknames, Gobblers or Hokies?
Both.
Yeah?
Yeah. The Hokies, but the Fighting Gobblers I like because I like the tradition of that whole thing. So, but I remember the days when the Fighting Gobbler was a big deal, and they actually had it on they used to say that on the side of Lane Stadium, home of the Fighting Gobblers. So I'm kind of a traditionalist, so I like that too.
I like the mascot.
Yeah.
Was cool.
Oh yeah. It used to have a big old long neck on
Right.
it, and now it's kind of more of a stocky turkey. So anyway.
And the last one, designated hitter or no DH? Or would that be just major league, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. We use the DP. I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like adding the offense into it. I really do. So I'm off with that. I'm okay with that. Even though, to be honest with you, I was a National League guy growing up,
All right.
being a Pirates fan. But I'm going to have to say that I'm okay with the DH.
Gotcha. So that's Rapid Fire with Scott Thomas. No prizes, no wrong answers, and little relevancy. But we only enjoy it, something different. And it makes for good conversation. Again, coming up, headed to Gulf Shores. And this is squad is a well-traveled team now. I mean, it's just, let's get on, let's go.
Yeah, the early part of the season, that's the way it is with these tournaments.
Right.
And then obviously once we get through the next 2 weekends, we'll be coming back in. We play a lot of home games. We have games for several days there, so several weeks actually. So it'll be good to get back home as well.
Looking forward to that, too. That's on February 26th. I got that right? I got to have it right.
I'd say that's right.
Looking
yeah.
right at it.
Yeah,
right at it.
Yeah, probably
against Coastal Alabama North, and it's an afternoon game, and that'll be great to see because it's straight driving around 23rd Street out here and seeing right there's the field and a game going on. You just slide right in there and catch some ladies softball.
That's right. You see those lights come up. It's kind of like Field of Dreams.
There you go. I like it. Well, this wraps up another edition of this week's Coach's Corner with the Lady Commodores head coach, Scott Thomas. Again, next game coming up on Friday. That'll be in Gulf Shores as part of the Sun Chief Classic. Always a pleasure, Scott.
Thanks.
Take care.
And I'm going to have to say Irishman. I actually saw that on the gangster stuff.
Okay.
So I like that. That's a new one I forgot.
Okay, gotcha. More next week. Thanks for joining us. For Scott Thomas, I'm Greg Sherrod. Take care.
Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner from the campus of Gulf Coast State College. Coach's Corner brought to you by Sweet Bay. I'm your host, Greg Sherrod, and we're talking again this week with the head baseball coach of the Gulf Coast Commodores, Mike Kandler. The Commodores coming off of, I would say a successful weekend, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was very successful. The Kevin Miller tournament went off without a hitch other than The Thursday night game was rained out, but we just pushed that to Friday. The schedule allowed us to do that, but it was a great tournament. The weather was pretty good. The crowds were outstanding, and the most important part was that we went 3-0 in the tournament. So it was a good weekend for sure.
St. John's, you shut out. Gordon State, you shut out the next day. Andrew College, you won 4-3, and that's just really impressive to get those 3 in a row there at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all baseball purists would tell you that, it's got to start with pitching and defense, and the two go together. And when you start the tournament with back-to-back shutouts, I mean, the shutout of St. John's River, they're number 2 in the state. They hadn't been beaten at that point. I think they were 8-0 when we shut them out. The story of that game was Alex Lozado. I mean, he was just phenomenal, and pretty much went through 6 innings. Just really, I think they had one opportunity to score, and he was in total command the entire way. And then Avery Stevens was able to finish that one out. So, I mean, that really got us off to a good start because they're an extremely good team, very similar to the type of team we're going to see in the Panhandle Conference. So it was nice to see that we could win that one. Then, of course, Gordon, last year, I think they were like 50-9 or something playing up in Georgia, had best program in the state of Georgia. Then to go out in that ball game and shut them out again was Eli Ellington started that one, and then Parker Dean came on through 4 innings of relief and didn't give up a batter, retired 12 in a row. So I mean that was impressive. And then we come out on Sunday, which it's tough to play 3 days in a row, host the tournament. You're pulling tarps on Friday morning. The players are out there all day working on the field, this and that. So by Sunday we were pretty tired, but kind of did it by committee. Braden Gainey, Mosley product, started on the mound, and we turned it over to a bullpen of John Allen and Leighton Hudson, and then Austin Capella closed it out. We were able to hold on and win that one 4-3 on a late home run by Josiah Miller. So,
well, that's cool about getting the pitching.
And we didn't really anticipate that. I mean, I thought we would have a pretty good staff, but right now through 8 games, our staff has really, really been good. In fact, it might be the best. I've been doing this a long time. It might be the best 8-game stretch of pitching I've been a part of. We get a 1.000 ERA at this point. Our strikeout to walk is like phenomenal, like 70 strikeouts and 12 walks. I mean, that's just stuff that you just don't see every day. So we're gonna enjoy this ride while we're on it, I guess.
Right. Well, you mentioned some of the best pitching you've seen at this stage. This is your 15th year here.
Yeah. I've been here a while, and it's my 33rd year of coaching somebody doing something. So it's just a heck of a run. And, in sports, or baseball, everybody says hitting's contagious. Well, so is pitching, so is defense. And right now we're doing those 2 things extremely well. And on a positive note, we although we're still not swinging the bats nearly as well as we need to, it was better. So all of that got us to the poll came out today. We had not been ranked in the state. Well, with this poll, we're now ranked number 9 in the state, which is, people are noticing that we're playing pretty well.
Sweet.
Yep.
And deserving. That's great. And hats off there on knocking out St. John. I mean, were they second in the state?
Yeah, they're a really, really good program and very, very strong. We just that might be. I mean, we kind of really put some things together there. We didn't walk it better. We didn't make an error. And we had some pretty competitive at-bats against their pitching, which is very, very good. So that was just a very, very good way to get the tournament started and the weekend started.
That's fantastic. 9th ranked in the state, junior college, and the Commodores of Gulf Coast. You mentioned getting the week started right, having a crowd, and being home at Frazier Field. How was that crowd?
The crowd was great, and it's just fun to play at home. I mean, we generally draw pretty well by junior college standards, especially if the weather's good. And a lot of parents were able to come into town and see their kids play. And so it just, and the other teams traveled well. So we had a lot of people out there. We had Dan Hudson, who is a professor here at the college. He was cooking gumbo and frying burgers and adding to the concession stand. So kudos to him. If you get a shot to eat any of his gumbo in your lifetime, I would definitely recommend it. It was... it was just kind of an added bonus feature. So it was good atmosphere out there.
Yeah, it is. I've always wanted. It's friendly confines. Really, really and truly. I mean, there at Frazier Field. I mean, you just turn right off the highway. Boom, you're there and again.
Yeah, it's a nice ballpark. Unfortunately, the beautiful backdrop with all those trees.
Right.
Something about a hurricane blew about 500 of those over, so it's not quite as quaint as it was. It was really nice before you used to not be able to see the road back there, and it was kind of just tucked in there. But it's still really a quality facility. Our guys love playing at home, and I think fans like coming out to, the field itself really is kind of, that'd be an interesting story in and of itself. I guess you were around, Greg, when they opened it, 88 or maybe 89, something like that. It's really been host to a lot of different great baseball players over the years, not just Gulf Coast players, but I mean the high schools have used it. Back when we used to have American Legion teams and those things. So it's been kind of a historic place now that just so many great players have played there.
No kidding. You remind me of American Legion. That was post '66.
Post '66 back in the day. Yeah, Bob Thayer, Steve Merchant helped coach. Helped coach that thing, and then we had Wayne Boyd ran another summer outfit. So it's all changed now. Everything now is more travel ball oriented. You don't have those hometown American Legion teams. I guess I'm old school. I wish we could go back to that. I thought it was kind of neat to combine kids from 2 or 3 high schools and take on kids, from Tallahassee or Sneads or Dothan or wherever they were from. So those were good days back in those days. But when we were running the Legion program, of course, Frazier Field hosted both the Legion team and Wayne Boyd's team back in those days.
I so remember covering that a lot and being around a lot of talent and enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Panama City, home to Gulf Coast, which will not be another game here until the 20th of February. But coming up, you got a road trip to Palatka, Florida.
Yeah, and if you've never been to Palatka, well, then you've just never been to Palatka. It's a nice little town on the St. Johns River. I hear they got a big fishing tournament over there once in a while. Other than that, I don't really know what they do other than play really good baseball. And we'll have 3 extremely tough games again. We've got Pasco Hernando that's playing really well. We've got Florida Southwestern again that beat us earlier, and then we got St. Johns River again. So it'll be really tough to beat them back-to-back times. So again, the schedule does not get any easier. Going back away from home, going to. They've really got a nice ballpark over there, so that's kind of fun. Ross Jones does a great job of coaching St. Johns River, and they really host a good tournament. But we'll have our hands full for sure. It's not going to be some easy task.
Well, you've said this before that hey, give us the tough stuff early. That's fine.
Well, you got to get exposed. I mean, you can't be afraid to lose. You're going to lose at some point, but losing and learning. I mean, that's the old wrestler's creed. We either go out and win or we learn.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're trying to do is either win or learn. So you can learn a lot by getting exposed and make adjustments because one way or whether you like it or not, when you get into Panhandle Conference play, you're going to be playing some of the best teams in the country. So like I said, the good news is we're playing pretty well. The bad news is the rest of the league. It's tough, but at least we're playing competition that I think is preparing us.
That's fantastic. Gulf Coast, the Panhandle Conference play doesn't start until later on. That's in March, but seeing the way you're playing now, it seems to be. Is it building confidence within the ball club?
I think it is, and I think we got a pretty close team. I've said that from the beginning. There's been a number of strengths. A lot of the credit for our success has to go to Jake Schuster, a young pitching coach that has really done a good job of getting those guys to buy into what he wants done. And our catching defensively has been outstanding. We've used 3 different guys back there. Kyler Holtgren, returning sophomore, Jeff Lancaster, returner, although he was hurt last year, and then newcomer Dallin Leach. Those guys have been really solid behind the plate. And if you're not good behind the plate, you're not going to be good on the mound. I mean, it's just catcher's maybe the most difficult position in all of team sports. He's got so many things he's got to do back there, but those guys have just been really good. So that's been a big plus.
All right. Now to change gears here for a moment, just to kind of keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I need to be on my toes.
You do need that. Little segment we're going to call Rapid Fire.
Let's do it.
Fire. Okay, we'll start out with this, which will be in their prime, in center field, Mays or Mantle.
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 Yeah, I think he was more explosive, if that's even possible to be more explosive than Willie Mays. But I would go Mantle.
Okay. Bull Durham or Major League?
Well, that's an interesting one. I'm going to go with Bull Durham, but I actually and nobody's going to believe me, I had an opportunity to be in the movie Major League. They filmed it in Milwaukee. I was living in Wisconsin at the time. They had tryouts. They had an open tryout at a park in Milwaukee that for all the extras. I know about 10 different people that were in the movie. I'm ashamed to say I overslept the tryout, so that was my opportunity to be famous. But I like Bull Durham. I think it's just I think Bull Durham is the Major League's funny. Bull Durham is the quintessential baseball movie.
Yeah, I like how Kevin Costner was such a purist.
Yes, they nailed that movie. It's good stuff.
Crash Davis.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Elizabeth Montgomery in Bewitched or Barbara Eden in I Dream of Jeannie? Liz Montgomery or Barbara Eden?
Greg, Elizabeth Montgomery's good, but Barbara Eden is that's top shelf Hall of Fame in my bid. I got to go with I Dream of Jeannie on that one.
All right. Yep. Okay. And that's it for this week's Rapid Fire. No prizes and no wrong answers and.
No wrong answers, but a lot of right answers.
A lot of right answers,
right?
And good conversation, depending on who's answering, who's asking. Back to baseball, and we get to again the spring schedule. Be playing at home against quality teams. We've talked about that, but it's something that again you stress. It's huge for you.
Yeah, well, like I said, we go on the road. That'll be a tough weekend. Then we come back we have 3 games against Shelton State, who's a perennial power. Bobby Sproul, former big leaguers, coached them for about 30 years, got over 1,000 wins in the junior college level, and we'll also mix in one with Wallace Dothan. Former big leaguer Mackie Sasser coaches that outfit. So obviously the guys I'm coaching against were better players than I was, but hopefully we can hold our own and matching wits with them. But it'll be another good series, and I think that comes up on the 20th.
Right.
It won't be long, and we'll be back home at Frazier Field. Hopefully the weather will be good, and we get another good crowd out there. That sure does help to have that support.
Yeah, no kidding. And you're right. It's a Thursday, the 20th, when you do return to Frazier Field in Panama City. Man, I'm just thinking about the Major League thing. It could have been an extra.
It could have been an extra. Yeah. I mean, people don't believe it. And then it's kind of funny. I was telling the same story. I left Wisconsin, went to coach at UC San Diego. We had 2 players on our team. And then I was telling them I could have been in the movie, and 2 of the players at UC San Diego said, well, we were in the movie. I said, you weren't in the movie. I could have been in the movie. They said, no, we actually were in the movie. They filmed the spring training scenes in Tucson, and these guys were from Tucson, and one of the guys was a guy named Dave Liegerman. He's actually the one pointing at Willie Mays Hayes when he's sliding, and that's the guy I coached. Another guy was Ted White, not the Ted White, a different Ted White, and he was playing first base in the movie. But the guy that's coming to charge the bunt where he says the explicative, you don't see it, that's a guy named Dan Wanuck. I played summer ball with him for 2 years. The guy that's trying to rob a home run was Jim Bathy. He was center fielder on my college team. So I got all kinds of history with that movie. And like I said, I could have been somebody. I was just tired, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing.
We're going to follow up on that next week. Got to go now. Thanks for watching. This has been Coach's Corner. We'll see you later.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.